But then not only that, you decide, you know what, I'm going to do a surprise onside kick because I am at home. I've got Texas down. They're reeling. I'm going to knock them out with a punch. And so you do the onside kick. You score again, and it's a 14-point swing. So Georgia was more aggressive on the offensive and defensive line. They were more aggressive and decisive in play calling, whether that was from Bobo or the defense. And then they took the game. The play action, too. Gunnar Stockton was really impressive on play action. Gunnar Stockton, 14 completions, 129 yards, 3 touchdowns on play action, 73% completion. The reason why he was successful on play action is because they were able to run the football again, nearly 130 yards rushing after what they did last week. Again, the offensive line for Georgia is healthy. They were moving. They took it to Texas in a defense that had played well this entire season against the run. Georgia made Texas pay up front.
On the flip side, you have to wonder, and we already proclaimed that Texas had a Georgia problem. You still continue to see that happening. 0 of 6 on third down in the first half, 4 drops on the night, penalties at untimely moments in the ball game, not able to protect, off target from Arch Manning. You just wonder how much of that mental dominance played into this ball game. Even when it got close, I think Georgia believed and Texas hoped.
First time in 14 years, a preseason AP #1 lost a regular season game that season by at least 20 points. And now Texas, since there were 3 losses, is it too much to get them in the playoff? They still finished the season at home against Texas A&M. And the Aggies staying on
touchdown. Georgia would end up winning 35-10. 25 points is Texas' largest loss over the last 10 seasons, y'all. Talk about BTA. Talk about Gunnar Stockton because he balled out. Noah Thomas, 2 touchdown catches.
Yeah.
Arch Manning did what he could. Having the bye week, I kind of wish that they didn't. Because he was cooking
Texas,
for those next 2 weeks.
Texas, man, their running attack was just no, it was awful today.
Yeah.
They couldn't run the ball worth a damn. And that's ultimately what it comes down to. It's just the fact that, like, all right, hey, let's look at the stats here for Georgia. 128 yards on the ground, 35 rush attempts. So there's like a conscious effort of like, we're going to continue to run the football no matter what. On the other side of it, 17 attempts by Texas, 23 yards total. Right now, that adds also to, Arch Manning and some of his losses that he had, but still, overall, it's about the toughness, I think, for Kirby Smart and this football team that I always just kind of like marvel at and enjoy, right? Because it's not about like, hey, the Johnnies and Joes, a lot of the good guys are playing the NFL and all that. I get that. But the onside kick, the toughness of his quarterback.
Such a dog
right?
move,
Mike
man.
Bobo. You can't tell me, like, as we continue to progress in the season,
Bobo's in his bag.
You got to be pleased by how Bobo in this offense has evolved week to week and has gotten better.
Your larger point, though, you can't tell me that there is a discrepancy or at least a margin between these 2 coaching staffs.
Right.
That was more evident than ever. Texas coming off a bye. Georgia, I mean, they've been rolling as of late. Yeah, the offense has been going, but Kirby Smart, a much shorter time to prepare for this game.
Yeah.
Had the game plan there, and it was so clear that this was Georgia's game, and they were in control for a good portion of it.
Right.
And ever since Texas came over from the SEC, Kirby Smart has owned this team.
No doubt.
Yeah, third time that they've played each other in the last year and a half, as you were talking about before we got on set. And I think when you look at this game, one thing that you have to realize is, like, Georgia is the better team, but the extra week to prepare is different for certain head coaches. Brett Venables got an extra week to prepare against Alabama, and how was that game plan? And then Texas gets an extra week to prepare against this Georgia team, and Georgia looked more prepared, quite frankly, if you ask me. And this Texas defense did everything that they possibly could to keep them in it. But
that throw there was
Gunnar
awesome.
Stockton was unstoppable in this game. 5 total touchdowns, as you're seeing on the bottom screen right now. And I think that Gunnar Stockton should be considered, or at least in the conversation of the Heisman, because the way that he was so in control of this offense, he was methodical, making throws on time. Had only 1 incompletion in the first quarter. He was able to run the ball. This Georgia team can hurt you in many different ways. They can run, they can pass, and the quarterback is effective in the run game as well. I think they're a complete football team, and they showed us that today.
Yeah, and you said it best too, right? When we were doing the highlight, it's just like he doesn't do that. He doesn't throw interceptions. So we were always like, whoa, hey, he is human being. Like, he's a man. He can make mistakes, but it's how he responds and bounces back to that, right? That was a Rocky reference, just so you know. Yeah. But either way, I just commend Gunnar Stockton and the way that he plays. Also, too, just Kirby and the way that he schemes up these games. And again, for Sark and them, they got a lot of the plays and all that. I think that it's really simple, though, for Texas going forward. It's just about, the toughness aspect. And I think when Georgia took the field tonight, this is not any analyst breakdown here. I think it's just really simple. Georgia's just like, no, this team doesn't beat us. That's really just what they have in their minds. And I feel like it continued to show up play in and play out. And now Arch did some good things. The drops in the first half, absolutely devastating. You got to help your young quarterback on the road. You got to make those catches, right? 4 drops, I want to say, in the first half. Can't have that.
They look like Georgia last year.
No doubt. That's a great point, right? And now with Arch, as the game continued to wear on and some of those plays kind of got away from them, you could see that he was pressing a little bit more than usual. And without the ability to run the football behind that offensive line, they're just very limited. And I think that just plays in the hands of Georgia and Kirby Smart and their overall team toughness.
Penalties were an issue, too, for Texas, especially early on in this game on the offensive side. That stalled many of the drives that they had as well. So that's something they're going to want to fix real quick, and we can talk about this as we move forward.
Yeah.
Third loss, deadly for Texas, or are we still holding out hope?
I thought they were hanging on by a thread anyway as a 2-loss football team in this, and I know a lot of people in the committee kind of ranked them high to keep them in the mix of it.
Right.
But I just don't know if they are a playoff caliber football team, honestly, after what we've seen this year.
Okay. It's like Call of Duty. They're on their the last man standing right now.
Right.
You might have a chance to keep on playing in the video game. Got to get back up. Now that depends if you beat Texas A&M, but I think when we talked about Texas being a team that can still get in the playoffs as a 3-loss team, the idea behind that was, okay, they can lose and split this Georgia-Texas A&M game, but they can't get smacked. They got smacked by Georgia, and they did not look like a team that belonged on the same field as them. And offensively is where you see that. Defensively, I think they have one of the best defenses in the country. This is probably the best defense that Georgia has faced this season, and it looked like that for the majority of the game. But when you get that onside kick, when you turn the ball over, when the sacks happen, when the offense gets 3 and outs, those type of things, it ends up being a bend but don't break, and they just continue to bend.
This throw in the first place, he kind of dropped to the weak hook area, and then all of a sudden just beeline and turned to undercut it. So he really played Gunnar on that rep. But, again, when we go back to this and we look at the film, yes, the Texas defense is going to show up. But you can only hang on for so long.
Exactly.
Right? And that's where I feel like I get that same feeling with Oklahoma. Now, today, Oklahoma, they were able to overcome it. But still, it's just like one side of the football is working too hard to keep up pace.
Oklahoma's defense scored. They put up points for them.
That's true, too. And I thought with the Anthony Hill interception, okay, here's the moment for them to get back into it. And for whatever reason, they just couldn't build off of that.
I was just saying, too, that Georgia isn't going to beat themselves. Yeah, you're going to have to go in and beat Kirby Smart
for sure
if you want to beat this Georgia Bulldog team. We've seen them lose games already, but they weren't losing tonight. So let's take a look at some of the social reactions here. We got a lot of love coming in for the Dogs. Y'all hate on UGA so much, but November Georgia is the real thing. Where was the Georgia hate? I don't remember that.
Gunnar for Heisman, 5 touchdowns. I'm with you, Dizzy. I see you with it. All right, Georgia always peaks at the right time. I can't hate as a Texas fan. That's real. That's real right there. Coach Kirby, just a better coach than Sark, will never outcoach him. Saban passed his torch off to bro. Hey, I won't really argue with that right there.
When you look at that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody outside of Alabama,
Yeah.
He just needs to get that Alabama monkey off of his back, right?
But it's strange though. Like I don't know if that first comment was accurate, because I feel like we've been pretty supportive of Georgia the entire season, and we've been shocked by just how good Gunnar has been. I think even Georgia fans, you can't tell me that you knew Gunnar was going to be this damn good in his first year as a starter.
I just saw DJ hop up. Damian Johnson, y'all see him in the YouTube chat. I got the YouTube chat right here. Our boy, big Georgia fan. Congrats on the win tonight, buddy. But
don't do that to him. Don't.
He's already got a big enough head already.
But I did ask you on Tuesday, and we're at this point, but then we're going to move on to our guarantee. But I saw that this Georgia team was humming. I asked you, which one do you believe in more right now, Georgia or Alabama? And we got to this point. And now you've decided.
Yes, I would like to change my answer. Right? Because no, I mean honestly, it's of course with Alabama, the defense is a good unit, right? There's no doubt about it, right? Ty Simpson, the way that he played. all right, hey, it wasn't great today, right? Oklahoma got after him, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe we're turning towards maybe following the Georgia Bulldogs a little bit more.
Quite
now.
possibly. Let's continue our Alabama conversation
How dare
here
you do that to me,
as
man.
we start our time for guarantee of the game presented by AT&T. Guys, after the opening week loss to Florida State, Alabama went back to work, winning 8 straight, including 4